Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Unbettable. I'm Mondo here today with Holmes and Gare. Well, Gare was here. I think he's dying right now. But we have an action-packed episode for you today. We're kicking it all off with the biggest news in sports right now. Stefon Diggs, boys. Stefon Diggs just got traded. As a Finns fan, this is some incredible news. I don't have to get fucking my ass kicked. All right, we got to restart. Yeah, I no longer have to worry about Stefon Diggs running up and down the field on us every single time we play them in the division. I feel like he's been our kryptonite for a few years, and now I feel like the Bills Super Bowl window is closed. As two fans of a team that is outside the division, how do you guys feel about this trade? I mean, it truthfully doesn't really impact you overall. So I was just curious before I kind of keep hyping it up what your thoughts were.
Well, I mean, it makes one team significantly better. It makes one team significantly worse. And I think it's pretty easy to figure out who those teams are. I mean, you add Stefon Diggs to the already pretty nice roster that the Texans have put together with a lot of young, nice pieces and CJ Stroud, Tank Dell, Nico Collins. You add Stefon Diggs to that wide receiving core, picked up Joe Mixon in the offseason as well. I mean, they're loading up on the offensive side of the ball, and you have to absolutely love that. I mean,
Yes, sir.
that's just such a massive upgrade for them in terms of offensive production. I know he's going to be really hyped to be playing with CJ Stroud with all the talent he has. And I mean, just think about the Buffalo Bills. Like, they have catching passes for them right now. I have their depth chart pulled up.
I'll tell
Curtis
you who.
Samuel is the number one wide receiver. You got Khalil Shakir and maybe Florida legend Justin Shorter. Dude, I mean, that's going to be really tough to go from a Stefon Diggs, Gabe Davis tandem to those guys this year. Got to feel bad for Josh Allen a little bit. And that's just kind of, I guess, wasting his talent now because I don't know who the hell he's going to be throwing to.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like thinking about it today. Like, yes, Stephon Diggs is a superstar, but he didn't really perform, I think, at the superstar level that everybody expected him to last year, which is why I think Buffalo was able to go through with this trade with a semi-clear conscience. But also, this is the third time Stephon Diggs has been traded away. So I feel like this is kind of like his last go. Like this could be his last dance in the NFL. Like if he fucks off and is like not a good player, like I could definitely see him being gone out of the league within like the next 5 years.
What was the third?
This time just
Viking,
now.
Vikings to Buffalo.
Let me rephrase it. His third team. Sorry.
Okay. I
Sorry.
was just sitting here trying to piece it together.
Sorry.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I think even with the down year, he still had some of the best stats in the NFL. The guy easily cruised to 1,000 yards, and like he looked terrible doing it. Now you go with a young QB. You have a better wide receiving core, and you have just a better team overall, a better scheme fit. And this is where he's going to excel. He'll put up at least 1,200 yards. He'll have probably 7, 8 TD catches. He'll put up probably 100 receptions at least. The guy is set up for a massive, massive, massive bounce back year if they play it right. And I think they will. And on the other side, I think the Bills really fucked up and got fleeced. They get a second round pick for Stefon Diggs, a fifth and a sixth rounder. I mean, that's crazy. It's crazy that we're sitting here being like that was an actual trade in the NFL today because
Yeah.
it is the worst trade I've seen in a long time. And I've lived through a lot of shitty trades being a Dolphins fan. So I'm just sitting here and I'm reveling. I'm enjoying just like all the Dolphins fan base at the fact that the Bills Super Bowl era is now closed. Just like that, it's closed. They have no receivers. They have a tandem running back room that's okay at best. They have an overpaid QB, a decent O line, and an okay defense. They're done.
I mean,
This is the Dolphins division to lose.
I posted the question on our Twitter today, like, could you see Jetta in a Bills uniform?
I
Yeah,
think
I
it's
voted yes
a
on that.
I think it's definitely a possibility, but do I see it happening this season? Probably not. I think it would still be another year or two before, that even could be remotely seen as pulling the trigger on. There's still a lot of free agent QBs. They could always trade up in the draft to get a QB for Justin Jefferson. But I think the more likely option is you'll see the Bills trade up in the draft looking for one of those top end wide receivers because this draft is loaded with talent. So I think that's the more likely scenario versus Jay Jetta. But do I think Jay Jetta would also look great in a Bills uni? Not as nice as he does in the Vikings. That's for damn sure. So it'll definitely be a situation to follow, but that's not a bad question, Gary.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Um, yeah, it's kind of been a while, boys, since we had like real NFL news aside from like the horse shit we usually get. So I was kind of excited to bring that story up. Another thing I'm excited about is Caitlin Clark. Holy shit, did she put up a performance against LSU? We sat here on this show. Well, Holmes, you and I technically sat on this show and hyped up how Iowa is going to come back and going to curb stomp LSU. Gary, as someone who took that LSU line, what were your thoughts as the game went on?
I wasn't mad. The other two bets I placed that night hit, so I wasn't really concerned about the money at that point. But I was happy to see, what everybody was kind of expecting to see, which was, what was it, 31 or 41 points dropped by Caitlin Clark.
41.
41, yeah. That's nuts. And especially to do it on a stage like that where I was talking about, I feel like she could potentially go off or shit the bed, and she definitely went off. And I think it's good for her. And I also think LSU took it with a stride. I don't think that there was as much drama post game that a lot of people were thinking there was going to be. I think it was a pretty respectful matchup all around, and I'm really curious to see what Iowa has left in the tank moving on.
Holmes?
Yeah, dude, I loved Iowa in this game. There's nothing more to it than just a big revenge factor here, and just get Caitlin Clark, like you said. I mean, there's no reason not to like her. She has been an unprecedented scorer in women's basketball, and it's been pretty incredible to just watch her stretch. And like Garrett said, dropped 41 points, had 9 threes. I mean, Iowa just as a whole team was shooting better from the field, better from three than LSU was the whole night. LSU out rebounded the hell out of them, but it just wasn't enough. Like you got to give credit to Angel Reese as well. 20 boards, 17 points. That's a nice double stat line right there. Flau'jae Johnson dropped 23 points. So I mean, LSU really just tried to do their part, but it's tough when you're up against one of the most prolific scorers in literally all of college basketball in the women's side. Like it's incredible to have watched her over these years and now break the record like she did earlier this year for the biggest all-time score in women's history.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you talk about records, right? It felt like every time she made a bucket, there was some sort of record being broken throughout the whole game. Like it was 3-pointers, like all kinds of stuff that was being broken. One record that stands above all else, though, and this is like something that, as someone who works in sports outside of all this stuff, it's huge. The Iowa LSU game broke the record for not just the best or most watched game in this tournament, not just the most watched game in women's history, the most watched college basketball game of all time was just done by Iowa and LSU. 12.3 million people tuned in to watch this matchup. No men's game has done that. We are in an unprecedented age of women's basketball and women's sports taking over, and it is kind of awesome. It's a whole new dynamic. It's fresh, it's new, and it's all being led by Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese in this whole rivalry that they've had. Now we're going to see this elevate to the WNBA, where Caitlin Clark's obviously number one pick. Angel Reese probably 7 to 10 range, somewhere in there. But now we're actually going to be getting into the WNBA. This is awesome. It's like building a new sport is what it feels like. We're finally getting eyes in the right spots. It's fun to watch. It's new. It's enjoyable. And holy shit, Caitlin Clark is better than Michael Jordan. That's my final takeaway. Best basketball player I've ever seen.
Yeah, she's insane, man. She's insane.
Dude, I sat there. I was like, this girl can't miss. She can't miss. She'll do a little spin around a circle. Doesn't matter. I'll throw it up.
She pulls up for where
Two bodies on her. Doesn't matter. She's pulling up from the logo.
Yeah.
It was the craziest shit I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's some crazy shit? I don't have any plays of the day today. I took today off.
Oh, damn. Oh, damn.
But expect big plays for this weekend for March Madness, men's and women's. Your boy's coming in hot in both. I've been killing it lately on this March Madness grind. I'm plus money, betting on literally every single game. And that's not going to stop this weekend. We're going to win it all. We're going to do better than UConn. That's just how it be. Holmes, what are your plays of the day?
Yeah, we got some MLB plays today. This is honestly, if you want to be real, this is one of the only sports that I am betting right now. I have not been good in basketball. I have been subpar in hockey. So honestly, I'm going to wait on both of those sports until we get to the playoffs. Hopefully, find some decent value in first, second round matchups, that type of thing. But I'm focused on baseball right now. MLB and college, posting college plays on the Twitter all the time. So make sure you're keeping up with those. Had a great record in college baseball this season. I think last checked, I was like up 15 units, I think, right now in college baseball. So stick with that. We're continuing to fire away on them. As far as MLB goes tonight, I got a few plays that I'm going to put out there. I am going to take the Houston Astros -0.5 first 5. I like the pitching matchup of Javier versus Bassett tonight. It was a really tough loss for the Astros last night with Hader blowing the save right after the night that the Astros threw a no hitter against the Blue Jays. So I think they're going to look to close out the series right today, get off on a fast foot. Houston -0.5, first 5, -110. I'm also going to take Mookie Betts over 1.5 total bases for -105. This guy has just been absolutely on fire. I think he's averaging like 4 bases a game in his past 10 games. It's kind of absurd the rate he's on. So we're going to keep riding that and see if that can cash for us tonight. And then for +100, I'm going to go over 8.5 in that Giants and Dodgers game. The Giants have sneakily been putting up a good amount of runs each game, anywhere from like 4 to 5 runs on average. And you know, the Dodgers with their lineup, they're going to be able to score as well. So I'm going to go with the over 8.5 there tonight. If you want a little extra same game parlay action, you take the Cubs tonight on the money line -200 against the dreadful Rockies, because we have to fade the Rockies all season long. And then also Dansby Swanson over 0.5 hits. I think he went 2 for 3 or 3 for 4, something like that last night. Had a really good night. He's had a very nice start to the season for the Cubs lineup. That's -222. You put both of those together, you probably get like a +105, +110 type of value. So that's what I would be riding tonight.
Gary, my face in space. What's the moon telling you to play today?
The moon is telling me to support the boy Nick Lipinski as the Cubs face off against the Rockies. I will be taking the Cubs -1.5 in that game. It also tells me that all Washington sports teams suck ass, so I'm going to be riding with the Pirates -1.5 against the Nationals. And then it also tells me that the Dodgers-Giants game tonight is going to be boring. So I'm going to go under 8.5 for that game.
Very nice. Glad the moon's been talking to you, buddy.
I don't know if you're watching this Yankee game right now.
Yes, I am. I'm stressing a little bit. You're
Come
not
on,
currently watching. Jorge Barrosa just scored. It's 6-5 Yankees still in the bottom of the 11th. I'm stressing very much. But I was trying not to talk about it. So thanks, Gary.
Yeah.
Guys, guess what we have today that we haven't had in a little while?
Poop graphic.
We have a graphic, and Gary is correct. What did I just say? Correct?
Correct.
Correct, shockingly. We have the graphic on the worst places to have to poop. I am going to intro this. You guys take a couple seconds, look it over, see what you think. Here are the worst places to poop. We have 10 this time. School. Nobody wants to take a shit in school. I mean, that's a no-brainer. Church. I mean, church like that, you're taking a shit in front of Jesus Christ. Not a good time. We got the beach. Where's the bathroom on the beach? Nobody knows. We got the woods. What the hell are we wiping our asses with? We got a road trip. I mean, nobody wants to be that guy. Hey, can we hit the gas station? I got to take a shit. We got festivals. The partiers of the group. Obviously, you don't want to miss anything. Golf course. I mean, we're leaving our foursome to go watch this guy have to take a shit. Like, not happening. A girl's house. If you know anything, you know how fucking miserable that is and how careful you have to be. The office. Your coworkers would be the first ones to smell it out. The first ones to call you out. Don't shit in your office. Finally, the bar. A couple beers can get to you. The bar doesn't really have the best bathrooms to deal with it. Boys, I will throw it to you this time. I'm in a good mood. Where do you want to start on this graphic? Who do you think deserves to have the number one spot? Also, fuck you, Gary. Yankees win.
Yeah, I know.
All right, man. Who do you think should be the number one spot?
School.
School?
School is embedded in you from when you start school to when you finish school. And that's a pretty big portion of your life, respectively. And nobody likes pooping at school. For me personally, I got over my fear of pooping at school pretty early. I really didn't care. I holding in a shit on the bus ride because you didn't poop at school is like holding on for dear life. So I'm gonna go with pooping at school for number one.
Holmes, what do you think number one should be?
I mean, I'm pooping at school really does suck, I will say. But I would say a bigger portion of your life is being spent as an adult where you can go to a bar and drink. At least if you're like me, that's what I hope to plan on doing for like the next 40 years. So just do you know how uncomfortable that is, bro? A bar bathroom is never where you want to go shit. It's disgusting as all hell, especially if you know about the Salty Dog Saloon. That is the last place in hell that you would want to poop. Like it's such an uncomfortable feeling to have to do that in a bar and then like wiggle your way through all these people just to get to the bathroom while you're still holding in a shit. Like it's so much easier to be able to do that when you just gotta piss. But when you gotta poop, dude, I hate that. Hate that.
Yeah, I mean, we know the school has the cleaner facilities between the two, right?
True.
Imagine you're at Rowdy's, Gary, right? You're at Rowdy's. There's a urinal and a toilet there. There's no divider. The door's always open. You gonna go in there and you gonna take a shit?
No. So like I remember being a freshman, there was an allegation against me that I diarrheaed in the lit bathroom and I just want to publicly say that that never happened. And I think
Sounds like
part
something someone who shit in the bathroom would say.
well, I also got another
Ah,
poop allegation thrown against me over spring break. We were on an island and I walked off by myself and I was just walking around for a while. And I was walking kind of slow because I didn't have shoes on and there were like fucking shells everywhere and shit and cutting on my feet. I came back and they were like, "Oh, where were you taking a shit?" And I was like, "No, but I kind of have to right now." So then they ended up calling it Diarrhea Island and said that I was the
that was
pooper.
I mean, that's two allegations, brother. There might be a pattern there.
And then the very next day, we go to another island, and the environment people are out there, and they were installing these stands, and I went up to him. I was like, what are these stands? And he was like, they're poop bags. And he gave me one, and I opened it up, and inside was toilet paper and hand sanitizer, and you were supposed to just shit in a bag and then wipe your ass with like 3 sheets of paper.
Oh my god.
It was a lot of poop
All
that
right,
week.
the bar is number one, Gary.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
I'll put school at number two, just because you're more mortified then than any time else, bro. I the girl's house. We can't go any further without putting that there. Yeah, the bathroom's probably nice, but the anxiety, the fear if it doesn't flush. I mean, it's the straight out of Dumb and Dumber scene where he is having a panic attack in the bathroom. All hell is breaking loose. Like you got to dive out the window. There's no worse feeling than having to take a shit at your girl's house, especially if it's like a rough one, you know? So I would have like I feel remiss if I didn't put that three.
I don't
Any
know.
I think honestly, if I were to put anything up there, like the beach, dude, the beach is just so tough. Like there's just like you said, bro, there is nowhere for you to go. If you got to piss, bro, you rock out there in the ocean, no problem. You are not shitting in the ocean. There's unless you are a sick individual. And I don't know what you're doing out there, man. Like that's just got to be the worst. Unless there's maybe like a porta potty on the beach, but I've been to very few beaches where they have those. So I don't know. For me, that's got to be up there just because of the sheer like nowhere to go factor.
I have a horror story. No
I mean,
bullshit.
I'd be shocked if you didn't. You've had one for every other
So,
time.
if you know me, you know I poop a lot, bro. So I've pooped in most of these places. The
God.
beach. I was like 12 years old in Clearwater, Florida. My family drives up there early in the morning, right? Middle of the summer, and we're sitting out on the beach, and it's hot. And I'm like sweating like a motherfucker. And I'm like, damn, bro, my stomach really hurts. And like when you got a shit and you're sweating already and it's hot, it just makes it like that much like more bad. Um, so then I'm like, damn, I don't know what to do. And my mom's like, there's a beach bar down the way, like go in there and they have bathrooms. Well, the bathrooms didn't have AC in them. So it's just fucking excruciating heat, like a sauna while you're shitting. And then I start throwing up. And then
Oh my
I find
God,
out I
dude.
have fucking food poisoning and I continue to shit for like an hour and a half. And then we had to drive home. Shit,
Jesus, that
having
sounds
the
fucking
shit at the
awful.
beach is horrible.
Yeah,
We should just let Gary make this list. I mean, all right.
I'll give it to him, man.
I'll put beach at three. Is a girl's house four?
Yeah. I mean, once you get comfortable with it, it's not really a big deal.
Yeah, but this it isn't like that.
But if we're
This is
saying it's
like
like a one night stand, girl, yeah.
you first met her, you went on like a date or two,
You
you're
found out
back
she
there.
had a penis.
What?
What?
No politics. No,
There's a-
no politics, Gary. Um,
I feel like you got to put Woods at 5.
yeah, I
I
was just
feel like
thinking
Woods
that.
is right there with the beach. Like you can really go anywhere in the woods, but that is just also just very uncomfortable. Like especially when you're out camping, you don't bring no toilet paper. Nah, you're in for it, bro.
Can I be honest? I think the road trip would be number six. I
Yeah,
haven't
yeah,
been
I
that
agree.
guy, but there's been guys in that car where it's like you just want to make it to the destination. This guy's like, "Hey, bro, like we gotta stop. Like I gotta take a
Yeah,
shit."
I agree. That shit's pretty bad.
Gary, what
Honestly,
horror story do you have?
we're pooping in the car.
Just needing to poop on a road trip.
I mean, I got pretty traumatized having to pee on a road trip. My grandpa like hated stopping at gas stations, so he pulled me over on the side of the road and I had to block myself off by like two doors. But I was
That's a
like
classic.
but I was a little kid and I was just like, I don't know. You get pee shy sometimes type shit and then you can't really go. That shit.
Okay. All right. So what we have left are church, festival, golf course, and the office.
I think the office is 100% last. Like shitting at the office, bro. Take company time shitting. Like 100%. I honestly don't think that that's a really bad place to shit. So, my opinion, that should be last.
You haven't worked at my office. I've seen people come out of there after just taking a shit and they get fucking made fun of. I
Oh,
would never
damn.
take a shit at the office.
I
Yeah.
guess it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
All right. I have not been to a festival, but I would assume if you're doing your extracurriculars and you don't want to leave the music, having to navigate the way through the crowd is pretty uncomfortable, would be my guess.
Yeah, I mean, just being in a massive crowd of people makes it very, very uncomfortable to have to just, it's like the same thing as a bar, just having to get yourself like out of that whole big ass crowd. Like, granted, when I go to festivals, I do not go anywhere deep into the crowd. I don't like that shit. I stay in the back and don't really go as deep. But I mean, I have a ton of friends that go really, really deep into that shit. They go sometimes go all the way up to the rails, bro. Like, could you imagine being that close to the stage and then shit, you have to poop? Like, man, that just blows. Like, obviously, you're gonna get porta potties. It is what it is at a festival. You're just gonna learn to deal with that. But like, nah, just getting there is definitely a problem.
Okay. So then that would leave us with two in between festival and office. Personally, I would say taking a shit in front of God is way worse than taking a shit at a country club. For keeping it a
Yeah,
buck here.
yeah, I respect that. And at least at most golf courses, like they can have bathrooms every like 4, 5 holes. They got them somewhere out there. So like, yeah, it sucks that you got to like wait around to wait for this guy to finish hitting. But at the same time, there's not really a ton of golf courses out there that you have to like literally leave the course, go back to the clubhouse, shit, then come all the way back. Like they normally have some type of facilities out there, even the really shitty ones. So it's not the worst thing in the world, but yeah, bro, shitting in front of God, like, no, that's
Bad.
totally worse. Totally worse.
All right. Well, there you have it. The bar, school, beach, a girl's house, woods, road trip, festival, church, golf course, and office. 10 worst places to have to poop. Also, if you stuck around at this point and you made it through all the poop conversation, please drop us more ideas either on Twitter or Instagram. I really don't want to talk about poop anymore, but if that's like a popular idea that you want to see rankings for, please let us know. But also, please try to come up with something that's not poop related. It's gross. But if you did
Fair.
enjoy the episode, I mean, please like, subscribe, share with everyone you know. We will see you guys on Monday for a very special March Madness final championship matchup. What are your prediction, boys? I think it's UConn over NC State.
Man, I'm going to go the chalk here. I think it's UConn over Purdue. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think Purdue will get it done and make it to the championship. However, they will not win.
Gary.
I think NC State's going all the way. I think it's their year. I'm going with the same
Wow.
matchup as Mondo.
All right. We'll see you on the next episode. Peace.